when you start your business, you need to be starting it with the intent to sell it. Even though you might not plan to sell it, you want to be growing your business from the perspective that someone out there would want to buy this business.
Right.
If I'm the only one in this business, if I'm the only one operating this business, if the business relies on me, nobody's going to buy that business. Nobody wants that business, right? Because that means if they buy that business, they're going to have to buy you too. Are you for sale? Like, are you going to go work for them too in your own business? Like, no, that's not the case. And they don't want to have to do what you're doing, right? So nobody's going to want that business. So you might not even be growing it with the intent to sell it, but you're building it with that mindset because that's what's going to make your business, number one, have value. Because remember, if nobody wants to buy your business, there's no value for it.
Right.
If your business has no value, it's worth nothing. If it's worth nothing, why are you doing it?
You're listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. It's about time that we invest more in our financial literacy and work towards building generational wealth. If you think you're ready to do the same, then you've come to the right place. Alex, Marlon, y'all ready? Let's get this bread.
What's good, everybody? It's Alex Camuno here, and we are back with episode 127 of the Money Monopolizers podcast, and I'm here with my co-host, Marlon Walls. Marlon, how you doing today, bro?
Doing pretty good, man. I think I set a new record time again just driving out here. Because crazy thing, it's crazy. I woke up like 30 minutes late, and I was like, yeah, okay, so I'm about to be booking it the whole time today. I missed a few exits too. It's a whole mess. But you know what I really thought about on that drive? I said we have a lot of trust in each other, like a lot. Because I thought about it even when I came up into our office and up here. I was like, the dude been literally sitting here, like you were sitting here the whole time, like waiting. We hadn't even said anything to each other before during my whole drive. It's like I know he's gonna show up,
right? And
I was like, that you can't even teach that. Like I thought people have asked us like, how do you start a podcast? Like co-hosting a podcast. Yeah. That's like you can't, like, I don't know, you have to really have trust in the other person a lot. And I'd say we definitely do on that.
I think that's what makes the show great too, because it's like, you can see the dynamic even live on the show. So yeah, it's good. But yeah, bro, I mean, that's like I was just kind of sitting here chilling. I set up and I was like, yeah, I don't know where he's at, but I know he'll be here by the time we're supposed to get started. So
facts.
And sure and behold,
walking in right on time.
Yeah. So that's a good point. I never really even thought of that, but like that's just something that is intuitive. And I think I mean, we're just fortunate to have that, bro, because I don't think a lot of people they don't find people like that.
Yeah, no, it's very rare. So that's why I was just wanted to like say that like on the show and stuff, because it just felt special right there. I was like, that's pretty cool right there, just to be honest.
No, that's dope. Yeah, bro. So that's good. That's good. But yeah, you had a good drive out here though.
Oh yeah, no, it was smooth though. I do a lot of thinking just doing a drive. So
I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah, we got a lot of to talk about today. So I'm excited.
That's good. That's good.
How's everything been overall for you past couple of weeks?
Everything's good now. I mean, we I finished all my taxes and bookkeeping and stuff now for last year, and that was
probably first work for you.
Oh yeah. Shout out Mike McCallow's, man. You already know how we coming with the tax. Having that money like already like set aside for your tax season is nice. And I'm not gonna lie, bro, like, because the tax bill I had was the biggest tax bill I ever had, and like when I was like finishing up my bookkeeping. Disclaimer, I do my own bookkeeping, so I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah. Me personally, I still haven't relinquished control of it, only because like I'm very specific on how I like things done, and I know like there's people that can do it, but like that part of me has not come. I haven't built the trust yet to be able to trust someone else with my money like that.
I think I would say it's twofold. One, the trust factor, but two, this is one of your favorite things to do. Is you've loved money for a long time. As far as like just being able to have control over it and just being able to see it and just do all the moving. Like I don't think you would ever give up the spreadsheet bookkeeping that you do. It'd be a long time to let that go.
I think that would be the last
you actually enjoy that.
Yeah, because to me it's like that part of business is like It's why I started a business, to be able to, allocate funds to different places, give something to myself. Like I enjoy that part of business. So for me to just be like, you could go. I'm like,
you're giving away some happiness with doing
right.
That.
It's
I
like,
can see that.
Yeah, and it's just kind of you know, it's gonna take some time for me to do. But yeah, I was able to finish all my bookkeeping and stuff for last year. It wasn't too bad. Last year was a lot worse than this year because I had multiple businesses last year, especially with the trucking business from 2020 and the massacre that was for my accounting. Like, it was a murder last year. So this year was a lot easier, and you know, the books and everything was super clean. Like I said, the tax bill was a lot, but it's you know, it's a good thing to see that, okay, yeah, I owe a lot of money in taxes. Not necessarily a good thing, but like to know that I am making money and I do owe more taxes than I've ever owed before. That means, you know, you're making more money than you've ever made. Facts. And but you know, I wasn't just gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna just, you know, just pay this tax bill and that's it. I obviously had, you know, was able to reduce that significantly because of, you know, the real estate that I own and that kind of stuff too. So that helped a lot. You know, the depreciation from the rental properties, it cut my tax bill by like 30%. So that was nice to see, because, you know, the way it was set up, it was like it was starting to stack up, and then when you input the depreciation, it goes down, like the amount that you owe. I was like, whew. I was starting to sweat, bro, because it was like, yo, I don't even profit first. I might not even allocated enough for that one. And that's what I realized actually this year. I might have to increase my percentage this year. Yeah, because it was like, I don't know, bro. It was kind of like, I feel like it was a little low. Like I was doing majority 15%, and I think it was a little low. But I think that's because I made money in other places too, right? And I didn't necessarily use profit first in, for example, like
in every business.
Yeah,
that's big facts right there. Like if you're not using it in every business, like how much are you setting aside in each one of those? Because each one should actually be allocating towards your tax bill.
Exactly. Each business needs to have some of your profits allocated towards. Or revenue, allocated towards your taxes. So like, I think one of my business, like, it's not really business, but like the course sales that I had from last year, it was not, I didn't make a crazy amount, but like it was enough to, like, you know, give you a little tax hit. So then it was a little touchy there. I ain't even gonna lie.
But I think one thing to point out, because you said 15%, I don't want people being like, bro, you're supposed to pay like 30% on profit first. The 15% is actually off of the gross income, because you got to remember that in business, you actually get taxed on what's left, not on what you made. So 15% of the gross income is actually equated to or more than 30% of your net, depending on the business model. But it's just like a good rule of thumb. It can differ for each business. But I did want to point that out, because I know somebody was yelling like, bro, 15?
No, if it's 15% is a decent amount. It definitely is. It's because that's coming from a big pot.
Right.
It's not coming from a little pot. So yeah, man, that was good. February is a good month though. Now we're in the beginning of Farch. Oh, I said Farch.
Yeah, Farch is that time of the year.
February was a good month. And in the beginning of March now, and I did a lot of traveling last month. So
facts.
I think that was the most traveling I ever did in my life.
Boy, was never home.
Yeah, bro, I was literally gone every week. I only came home for a few days during the week. Like I would be there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then be gone again. So, but yeah, I would think I was in Miami in the beginning of March. Then I went to Houston.
How much PTO you got left?
Man, come on, man. What is that? I don't ask nobody to go nowhere.
Facts, man.
Which is something, you know, I kind of realized. I was like, dang, I'm just kind of able to, you know, buy a ticket. And it's like I was buying tickets like 2 weeks before. So it's not like this is like I'm planning these things out. But like, yeah, I went to Miami first weekend. I bought that ticket like a week before. Houston, I didn't have to buy a ticket for that. But like, you know, getting away. And then Atlanta, I bought that ticket like probably a week before, maybe 2 weeks before. And then Vegas, I went to Vegas last weekend. I bought that ticket the week before, and it's nice, man. That's freedom for sure. That is the definition of freedom. And to me, like, traveling is like, even though I would say 3 of those, two out of those 4 were like leisure and like kind of just vacation kind of things. So it was nice to be able to do that and get away from being at home and working all the time. But that's kind of the point that my business is in now, that I'm able to kind of do that. And
that's the whole point of building a business in the first place, to be able to do that. So
yeah.
You just pretty much living out what you had set out to do from the beginning.
Facts. That is exactly why we started the business. So yeah, but that's pretty much all I had really going on. So, you know, before we get into the show, I'm finally glad I remembered this, because I failed to mention it like the last, I feel like 10 episodes, but we're still doing the review challenge.
Oh, that's good. Talk about that.
The review challenge. 300 reviews by the 3rd of May, which is our 3-year anniversary. 2nd of May, which is our 3-year anniversary of running the podcast. 300 reviews. I think we're at 283.
Yes, sir. I was gonna say that too. We went from needing 46 people to needing 17. Who's in that Who's in the elite 17?
Yeah. And first I want to say shout out to a lot of those people that left, because I saw a bunch of reviews in February.
Facts.
I think that's the most we've had ever in
just
a month.
In 1 month.
Yeah. It was. I think we had almost 20 of them. So written. Not even just
it's not just a rating, but
just review. The actual review, which is dope, because that just again, it helps my my ego, and it helps me to continue.
Helps it
to keep pushing. So yeah, man, that's funny. That is what we're kind of trying to do. So yeah, we need 17 more, and I think right now, again, like we said last time, we're getting around 3,000 listeners a week. Yeah. So with that said, I would say one thing I think we didn't mention last time, I would say 94% of them, he's already pulling out the calculator. 94% of them listen on Apple Podcasts.
Facts.
So
you want to do a lot of math.
Yes. So 94% of 3,000.
That's 2,800.
2,800 people.
2,820 to be exact, for all the people that's want to be specific. So.
Yes, 2,820 people. So we need 17 of you to leave reviews.
And that means that's 0.6%.
0.6%.
Man, I would love to be in the 0.6% of the world.
Imagine you had an opportunity to be in the top 0.06%. Most people will never have an opportunity to be in the top 0.06% of anything. So it's an opportunity for y'all to be in the top. So yes, leave those reviews. And I'm telling you, it helps. We're not just asking only for ego. That is a part of it, but it helps because of the rankings and Apple Podcast charts, I think. So
not I think.
I'm pretty sure.
No, because we were actually sent a message. I don't know if you saw that, but
Black Married to Death Free.
Yep, they sent us a message yesterday talking about how we were ranking up in the charts.
Yeah,
in the US. So that was on the investing chart. So yeah, that was exciting to see.
Yeah, definitely. We're trying to keep climbing. The charts are funky, the way they work. It's kind of you can get pushed in, pushed out, and it's kind of just based off of what you're doing at that moment in time. But leave those reviews, man. If you're enjoying the show, we doing a lot for y'all, man. Going out to Atlanta, going out to Houston, coming out to San Antonio. We're going all over to make sure that we get high quality episodes. If you're watching on YouTube, shout out to you especially, because I know YouTube, you got to be locked in.
Facts.
And I know if you rocking with us on YouTube, you're definitely a big fan. So definitely leave a like on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and share the show with somebody. Share it with somebody that needs to see it. So, yeah. Now, I'm glad I finally mentioned that. So what we should do now is I really want to get into our show. But before we do that, as always, we got to get into our business updates.
It's time. Keep them posted.
All right. So we are now in March, ending Q1 of the year.
Getting close to
this month. Yeah.
Very true.
And, I know things for you. We've been talking about some things. I know you got a lot of things going on in the business. So please update us on what you got going on. And I'm not even going to say keep it brief this time.
Yeah, no, we could do a whole episode on everything that's been going on, but I will keep it briefer than that.
Yeah.
Man, so everything that I've been saying for the past 2-3 months is finally coming to fruition, because I've been saying for the longest that it's like a calm before the storm of what was happening within our business. We've been talking to so many different people as far as investors. You're right. I already hear you saying that.
Yeah, you already know what I was going to say.
Welcome, everyone. So
I was just going to see. Let me see if he gets it.
You're right. I'm doing better. So for anybody who is just joining the podcast for the first time, just to introduce, I'm actually in the rental car business. So me and my dad had started our rental car fleet back in August of 2020. We had only started with one car. We actually scaled up to 12 last year, and now this year we're looking to scale to beyond 100 cars. And so it was a big feat that we set early in the year, but my biggest thing is setting a big goal and then finding a way to get to that big goal. So that's what we've been doing for this past month, was just continuously talking to other people as far as looking for people that want to add into our fleet based on through joint venture partnerships. And so we finally got our investor that I was talking about a couple months ago, saying how they were going to bring us 10 cars. There's a group of 3 of them. One person finally pulled the trigger and got us 2. We got it rented out the same weekend that they sent it, and I just left it in the group chat for them. I said, hey, this is what happens. I almost shouldn't have did that. Because they was like, oh. They literally like just started going crazy, like just sending me different deals. Like, hey, what about this car? What about this car?
Yeah.
So we went from having those two come in. We actually had another investor send us another one a couple of days ago. It's also got rented out already too. And that group is sending us 5 next week.
Really? That group of 3?
Yes, that group of 3 is sending us 5 next week. And now we're seeing the domino effect, because now there's our business coach. She connected us with one of the people that she knows. He's sending down another 2 this upcoming week. And then, man, it's a lot of different people. Like, a lot of people are looking to.
And these are new cars?
Now. Yeah. Some are new. Some are like, it's anywhere between like 2014s to 2022s.
Okay.
It's anywhere within that range.
But they're sending like good cars. They're not sending like
they are.
poopies.
Nah, I wouldn't even take that.
Yeah.
So we have all criteria that we were talking to people about.
Right.
But it's finally at the time where everything that we have been all the work we've been putting in, we're finally seeing the results of it. And so, like I said, we have 7 coming in next week in total. And
wow.
So that will actually double our fleet size from just a month ago.
What did y'all have a month ago?
10. And so
y'all have 20 next week.
We'll have 20 by the end of next week. Just like that. And
wait, so how many y'all have? You have 13 right now.
We have 13 right now, because we have so, man, I forgot to mention this. I wanted to talk about this earlier. My car, I know we talked about it a few times.
Yeah.
My personal vehicle, the one we've been saying we've been driving since high school, it finally broke down. It finally was on its last leg, and the engine pretty much just shut down on me.
Yeah.
So I actually had to take I took one of the cars that we had in the business. That's why I'm saying that for that reason.
Right.
It was one of the cars we had in the business that was like up there in mileage. I took that one for my personal self. So now I'm driving that one. And that took our fleet down to, what was that? 12. I think we were at 11. Then we took it down to 10. Yeah, that's what it was. Took it down from 11 to 10. And then we were added those other 3.
So now you're back to 13.
So now we're at 13, and now we have 7 coming next week.
But y'all were gonna sell the other one anyway.
We were gonna sell it. Crazy thing is that we've had that car sitting for about a month.
Right.
And we just never decided. We just never took action to actually sell it. And just so lo and behold, my car ended up breaking down. It's like, I'm glad we didn't sell that one, because now I can use that one for myself. Drove that one up here today, actually. So.
Yeah. Hey, the Durango did its job.
Durango put in some work.
It was time. Let that boy go.
It was a 07 with 205,000 miles on a Dodge at that.
Yeah, to get 200 bands out of a Dodge.
Right.
you did your job.
It put in some work, so I was sad to let it go. I'm actually we're selling it on Monday. So.
Selling it? Who's buying that?
It's like an online website or something that buys your car when you just like gives you a cash offer for it. So
$200,
$700.
So, I guess we're in an inflated market.
Yes, sir. So right. But yeah, so we're gonna get that for it, and it's over with. So. Yeah. I'm very sad to see it go, but it was about that time for sure. Yeah. But no, I'm excited for everything that's coming up within this business though, because that's why I say set the big goal early, because throughout the journey you're going to actually become the person, and you're going to find the opportunities along the way to get you toward that goal. Right. Now we're really pacing there, and it's only going to be exponential from here. So
how much revenue do you think 20 cars would generate?
Man,
if you had to put it.
You said so monthly revenue or like yearly revenue on that? Monthly, it can range. So I always give like a rule of thumb for like economy cars. They can range from like 1,000. They usually get around 1,000 a month. But now we're changing our entire fleet model. And so instead of us doing economies, we're going to be doing like larger passenger vehicles,
like the Suburbans, the Sprinters.
Yep. So we're looking more in that area. Those can generate anywhere from like 2,000 to 3,000 a month per car.
Right.
So now we're looking from ranging at 20,000 for 20 cars, but now it's going to be more like 50,000. And that we can potentially get towards. So
per month.
Yeah, per month. So between that range
with 20 cars,
with those 20, I would say I could see it getting around like 30 to 40 though. Like 50 that's a great month.
Yeah.
If you get that much, but I'm seeing more so around that 30 to 40 range.
Nice. Well, man, that's dope. I think it's been a long time coming. So
yep,
you've been pushing this for almost a year, almost 2 years now.
Yep.
So like a year and a half.
So yeah, I'm excited for what's to come, and we like I said, we can tell that it's a domino effect, because even those investors that we were talking about, the ones that bring us 5 next week, they said that they have other investors that they would also like to refer to us. And I'm like, if anybody is like y'all, then that's a wrap. Like, you don't even need, because before we were thinking of going to like cars. No, we were thinking about like reaching out to multiple people, and everybody adding in like 1 or 2. But it's like, man, if you can get a few good ones, that's all you need because they're the suppliers at that point.
It's the 80-20 rule.
Exactly.
80% of most of your stuff is going to come from 20% of the production or the people in most places, in most instances. So,
and that's exactly what we're seeing too. I'm like, dang, they loading it up now. So it's time for us to execute on it. So I'm excited.
Yeah, 2022 is going to be nuts then.
Yeah, my dad man, you should see him. He growing his beard out. It's
for real?
Grays everywhere.
He getting stressed?
I don't think he's getting stressed from it's just age really, but it's just funny to say it. Yeah. So hey, he's enjoying it though. I told him it gets fasten your seatbelt. It's gonna be a big year.
Oh yeah, that's good, man. I'm happy for y'all. That's gonna be nuts because
Yes,
I know it's I already know what's gonna come out of it, so it's gonna be crazy.
No doubt, man. So how everything been for you overall?
Oh, hey man, business is you know me. At this point, it's the business has been on autopilot, and it's growing, but it's growing at the rate I want it to grow at. So I have a lot of like control into like where and what I want to do with the business right now, just in the sense of like, because I don't have to do anything. I feel like I say this every time, but it's so important to get your business to the point.
That's a fact.
That you don't. All you have to worry about is growth. I don't have to worry about the day-to-day stuff. So like anytime, I don't deal with anything. Yesterday I dealt with something because I saw something coming in. I was like, yeah, let me take a look at it. It was like an issue with a customer. I was like, let me just help them out with it. Just because I kind of actually wanted to. I didn't miss it, but it was like I just
like, dang, I forgot these things exist. Customers, what is this?
No,
I'll talk to one of these people in a minute.
It was just something where I was like, let me mention for me too, duh.
Cause it's hard. Hey, I get it.
Yeah, you just start talking. But for those that are new to the show, I am in the cleaning business. I have a cleaning business. Not really more. It's more so of a matchmaking business the way I look at it. Where I have essentially I'm the middleman between independent contractor cleaners and people that need their house clean and match them up. And that's what I've been in since August of 2020. Pretty much the same time you've been in yours, and which is funny. And then started that, did 400,000 last year, and now this year, we're gonna go to the moon, wherever the moon is. So that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, I ended February with I think it was around 50. I didn't even look at the exact number. I'm not going. This is the first time I didn't.
Boy, you doing super autopilot.
Yeah, I was just like, yeah, okay, it is what it is. Because at this, it's what's going to happen is what's going to happen, and that's something I want to talk about too in a little bit too, just in the sense of like, I'm in a point with my business where I am okay with not knowing everything going on in the business, which it took me a long time to get here. It took me a year and a half to get here. And I think it's not, you're not supposed to be there immediately. Like, yeah, you need to know everything going on.
That's called growth and development. So that's what happens.
Exactly. So now I'm kind of at a place where like, yeah, cool. So I think we did 58,000 last month. And I did have to, the reason we didn't do 60 is because I didn't shut down the Houston location, but I kind of paused it over there just because I'm still having some issues with like hiring over there, but I haven't like put enough like emphasis on it to really say like, okay, I have it open, because some of the cleaners I have over there is just it's not consistent. So I'm still trying to find a method over there for hiring that's gonna help over there. But in the meantime, I've been putting a lot those resources in terms of the marketing. I'm gonna be just putting it to the other two locations and pick up from that.
Those two are still like full-fledged running.
Yeah, those are still like pretty much, they're like neck and neck now as far as like what they generate.
Dope.
But yeah, we had this month, I think we have 30,000 in recurring revenue alone. So that means like people that pay us regularly.
Right.
So that is weekly, bi-weekly. I have commercial customers now that are every day, which are $5,000 per month contracts. So 30,000 in recurring revenue alone, which is the most I've ever had in 1 month. And so now new sales is just going to be whatever that's going to be. So it's definitely that's how the business really grows. The business grows from like the recurring revenue, because every month you want to restart with a better than last month.
Right.
So like the goal is to like always restart with like a higher amount than what I started with last month. And so
for the reoccurring part.
Exactly.
That's what makes the business most valuable, is the reoccurring piece.
Yeah, having recurring revenue is like, if you have a business model with recurring revenue, you have a lot more valuable than a business with only, one-time transactional volume, which is the intention for getting into the commercial spaces. As far as like that's something that's gonna pick up, I know, in the summer a lot more, because the company I hired, they're still building that pipeline out, and that takes time to like build a pipeline of leads. So once that starts picking up, my goal is just to really recoup my investment, definitely, at least, which is $50,000 a year. So to get a couple. I haven't closed one of those contracts yet, but I've only sent one proposal, and it's still early. So yeah, it's been hot, man, and I just, to see where it's gonna be at the end of the year, I really don't know where it's gonna be, but I'm just kind of riding that wave and pushing for it. And the best thing now is that, like I said, the business is at a point where I can focus on other things if I want to. So now I'm able to kind of like develop some other skills and some other things I want to do.
Yeah.
Which is, again, that was something we'll talk about today too.
Yeah, I really want to talk about that, actually.
So yeah, that is, honestly, man, everything is great. I can't complain. It's just really just about executing and continuing to execute, continue to focus on the growth and not to get complacent, which can be a struggle sometimes.
No, I can see that. Like, as far as like, because one thing I always think about is that you can get to a point in your business to where you are comfortable at the current spot, essentially. Because and I actually want to talk about this, because at what point in your business do you say I'm at a point where I'm cool? Do you ever get to that point, or do you have to always be pushing for growth? Because now I'm starting to think about how do people exit a business? Because there's so many ways that, people always talk about entering a business and always running it and like trying to grow it. But at what point do you actually say, I've grown to the point where I'm comfortable, and it's okay to be comfortable, because now it's at a point where maybe it's passivated, it's automated, and I can go do other things and start growing something else. Because I know we talk about focus all the time. We talk about like focus on one thing, but at some point you focus to the point where you've automated everything. Yeah. So is there ever a point where once you reach a certain level of automation, now your focus can shift, like you're giving yourself that opportunity?
I love this conversation and I love this topic. So let's talk about this. And I think there's two directions with this, right? Or two angles with this, or two perspectives, whatever. There's the aspect of like, obviously, once you get to this point in your business where now it's like, okay, what is the end? Like, where is the end? Like, not necessarily the end, but like, what do I ultimately want, right? That's exactly one thing. But that you got to get to that point first. The other angle is, if you're still trying to figure out what business you kind of want to get into, or not even if you're still trying to like start a business, grow a business, the same conversation we're gonna have is like, okay, when is it time to pivot to another business or try something else?
That's definitely different too.
Yeah, so I think those are two different things that I think would be good to talk about right here, just because I think there's a lot of people in that conversation too, where like, they're trying all these different businesses, doing all these different things, and they don't know, like, okay, is this the thing I need to try? Should I give up? Should I keep pushing? Like, what should I do?
It's talking to two different people at that point. So the first person you're talking to is the person that is starting a business and is trying to figure out, is it time to pivot because it's not working, or the person that has grown to a certain level in their business and trying to see, do I need to keep growing, or do I need to or can I pivot to something else?
Do something else, right? So it's two different things, and it's two different answers, right, for both people. So let's talk about the first one you mentioned, the person that's grown that business, and they are, at a point where it's like, okay, is there something else I want to do, or whatever the case may be, right? And so for me, honestly, what I think is that, number one, like, we all start business. I think a lot of people forget that you start businesses for freedom.
Facts.
And you start businesses for them to become passive, for them to become to a point where you don't have to worry about it, and you can get to that point where it's like I said before, I'm okay with not knowing everything going on in the business, because it keeps me out of it.
Right.
And it allows me to keep my time free, which is ultimately what you want. Right. So that is one thing. So understanding that is the most important thing, right? That is the ultimate goal. You do want to get to that point. So if you haven't got to that point yet, then this conversation, like, you shouldn't even be considering like, oh, is there time for an exit or something? Right. Like, no, you still gotta keep growing your business. But once you do get to that point, I think the thing that to me matters is, number one, like, is what you're doing what you actually want, right? Is this the thing that's like, you feel like this is what I need to be doing right now, right? So I mentioned like, okay, I'm not doing other things, but I'm able to like develop and practice and hone in on other skills because now I've freed up so much of my time.
Right.
And I don't have to worry about like the day-to-day stuff of the business that takes up all of my time, right? I can focus on other things that can develop other skills, right? And it took me 1.5 years to get here. So it took some time to get here. I think a lot of people think like, oh, it's supposed to take like, 5-10 years to like, no, it doesn't. If you know how to business and you know how to,
you know what you're doing, it's going to be a lot faster.
Yeah, like business is not hard. I mean, it's not easy, but like it's not hard once you like figure it out. Like it's a system, literally. So yeah, I think that is the number one thing to really understand. It's like, okay, cool. Is this what I actually want to be doing? And if it is what you actually want to be doing, then cool, continue to grow it. And that goes back to what your goal is, right? For me personally, I know I have big goals, big aspirations to like, make a lot of money, have a successful business, but I don't necessarily have a goal to be a billionaire. Like a billionaire, that's a lot of work to become a billionaire. And it's like, do I need that much? Do I want to? Do I even want that much? I don't necessarily. Not at least right now at this point in my life. It's a billionaire is like that's not an easy feat. Like that is, I can't keep doing what I'm doing now is not going to get me to $1 billion.
And I think that's a good point to hit on is that you may have that goal to become a billionaire. Like a lot of people just say goals that they have, but they don't necessarily know. They don't think about what it takes to get there. And so that's the part two of it is that you can say you want something, but are you willing to do what it takes to get there? And to get it to, let's say you take the cleaning business and you want to turn that into $1 billion company. It's like, am I willing to do what it takes to get there? If not, that's like truly your answer. You don't have to have a yes to every answer. Yeah. It can be a no. And so now that's where my question comes in is like, at what point do you just say, I'm not going to continue to grow? I'm going to actually stabilize.
Me personally, I know that this is not my end all.
That's like, another good point.
I never intended to get in this business like, yep, this is the business I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
I'll be doing this for 40 years.
Yeah.
We're just like managing the cleaning business for 40 years.
If anything, real estate is my end all.
Right.
Business is just a vehicle to get me to real estate, right? And with that, and also get me freedom, right? That was the whole intention. It's the financial freedom formula. 9 to 5, business, freedom, real estate.
Yes, sir.
It's the formula, straightforward, right? And so, or whatever other assets you want to do, if it's stocks, crypto, whatever.
Right.
I just like real estate. Yeah. And so, me knowing that, I know that like once my business is at a certain point where it's not at that point yet, and by no means is it at that point yet where it's like, cool, I'm just like cool with it where it's at. Like, no, it's not at that point. Like, come on, I haven't even made $100K in a month. But who does that? So I guess that's relative, but
also even still at $50,000 a month or $60,000 a month, that could be for a lot of people, for a majority of people, I'll say that is a good business where I can say I'm stabilizing. And so that's why I'm saying there are people at every different level that just say I'm cool at this level.
Yeah.
And so also one question that I do have is does sustainability exist
in terms of
a business? Like, I'm not going to continue to grow it.
But no, it doesn't. No.
That's what I was worried about that too.
It doesn't. And that's one thing I know I've always been an advocate of, that the fact that business is not going to just continue. Like, I'm not going to keep just making $50K a month, $50K a month, $60K.
Because now you may have systems in place for it to last for a certain amount of time. Like, you may be able to do that without touching the business for, let's say, the next year or two.
Yeah.
But at some point it may be on a decline because now there's new people in the market. There's new services that are doing a little bit better than
you're not even aware of it.
Correct. And you're not aware because you're not even bothering to grow it anymore. So I think there's a fine balance between the two, though.
Yeah. And I think that is important to that's why you have to have systems in place that are going to grow the business too.
Right. That's true.
That's the thing that's important. So that's what I'm focusing on now is like systems that can, because the problem with me growing my business is that it's only going to grow based off of me right now.
Correct.
It's going to operate based off of my systems I have, but it's only going to grow based off of me. So now it's going to be time to implement systems that's going to grow the business, which is next level.
Yeah. Because
you're putting trust in people on another level. It's one thing for me to trust you to deal with issues,
to operate the stuff that you've already put in place.
Right.
But now you put in a new visionary in place.
But yeah, now I'm entrusting you to have to essentially now, go represent the business and the company in a certain way, right? If I'm trusting you to go hire people, now I'm trusting you to go find people the way I would find people. Especially, that's the biggest thing for me. It's like, who are you going to hire? Who are you going to pick? You're probably not going to pick the person I would have picked, just because I have a certain like standard on how I like things done. I have a very, very high standard on things in my business. And I know generally most people will not have that same high standard. Now that could be a thing where it's like, okay, now you got to find people that will have high standards, which that's another system to find people that are going to operate that other system.
Very true.
So, but again, I don't have those systems in place for that yet. I'm going to have that this year.
Right.
Because I think, that could be for me, that's the next thing really. That's like implementing those systems that's going to keep growing the business, because I don't want, like, I get tired of like hiring and doing that stuff personally. It's like annoying. Like, I don't mind doing it because like, but I just got to a point where I don't necessarily need to do it right now, just because I have enough staff that can handle what we're doing now.
Right.
And we can do more than what we're doing now. It's just we just haven't yet. And so
that brings me to the point of you're pretty much going to be hiring out like another CEO. Like, who's going to be a CEO of the company that your job is to push the business forward? Because that's why I brought up that stability conversation or sustainability conversation. I don't believe that does exist. And so I wouldn't even advise anybody to get to a point in their business where they say, I'm cool with it, and then just don't grow it no more.
Your business will be gone.
Because it's going to eventually fade away because nobody is innovating. Like, business needs continuous innovation to continue to grow and continue to be relevant. Because that's, like I said, it can based on your operation right now with your current with the current people that you have, the current systems in place you don't have those systems to bring on new people. As far as like the people that like, you don't have anybody that's going to hire out new people, right?
So I have systems for hiring, but I haven't taught those systems.
Correct.
The only reason I have them is because I knew one day I would, but I have them already. Like, they're all there. I just haven't taught them.
Correct.
And that is just something I haven't done yet, because I haven't got to a point where I trusted people yet to do that.
Yeah.
Which maybe it's that time now.
Right. And I think that could be very well be a conversation, because that could also make your business valuable. Is that, let's say you are going to sell that business off one day, and you say, this is our visionary for the company. And also somebody is actually like buying, your buyer could be called, quote unquote, the owner. They're not trying to be the person that has to hire out people either. They're not trying to be the person that, they may have a vision for where they want to go, and they may be able to have conversations with the CEO. But at the same time, you have somebody that's dedicated to growing the business in general.
If there's a CEO in place, which people like, it's like, cool, there's already a manager for this business.
They don't have to train nobody up either.
Exactly. So you're buying a business already pretty much make ready, turnkey, right? And that's why I always emphasize, we always say on the show, it's like, when you start your business, you need to be starting it with the intent to sell it. Even though you might not plan to sell it, you want to be growing your business from the perspective that someone out there would want to buy this business.
Right.
If I'm the only one in this business, if I'm the only one operating this business, if the business relies on me, nobody's going to buy that business. Nobody wants that business, right? Because that means if they buy that business, they're going to have to buy you too. Are you for sale? Like, are you going to go work for them too in your own business? Like, no, that's not the case. And they don't want to have to do what you're doing. Right. So nobody's going to want that business. So you might not even be growing it with the intent to sell it, but you're building it with that mindset, because that's what's going to make your business, number one, have value. Because remember, if your business if nobody wants to buy your business, there's no value for it.
Right.
If your business has no value, it's worth nothing. If it's worth nothing, why are you doing it? So grow your business with the intent to sell it. Right. And there's so many things that encompass into that. We have a fire episode coming out with Mark Golden.
Facts.
And we're going to be talking about that. We did that in Atlanta. That's going to be epic for that. So look out for that. It'll probably come out in the next month or so. Or probably in the next 2 weeks when this releases. Right. But so really focus on, I think a lot of people miss that, like from day one. So before you're like getting into the business with the mindset of, okay, I need systems from day one. We've beat this dead horse so many times, and I think we can't underemphasize it enough or overemphasize it enough, because it's so important. Your business won't get to the point where mine is if you don't do this. There's people that probably would. It's impossible to actually even get to the point where my business is without doing it. It wouldn't have been possible, because I literally couldn't have handled it. Dude, you know how many calls and issues come in every single day in the business? I would have been working 16 hours a day trying to do this. It's no possible way. Not possible.
This is huge, man. So this conversation about starting your business off as a business that you intend to sell is like, that's the definition of you're not buying yourself another job.
Yeah.
Because if people leave their 9 to 5 to go start a business and you never implement the systems, you're essentially saying that you're okay with running this business the rest of your life and not really ever having a time to be able to go enjoy freedom.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that if you ever leave the business, you can't go. Well, the business is not going to function or run anymore. I'm talking about people that did not start with the intent to sell it, or would start with the intent of like building out systems and people in place, because you pretty much have like a glorified side hustle at that point.
Yeah.
Because you never are going to be able to, like, it's not a business. A business should be able to operate without you. Think about the cash flow quadrant. The business owner, they have systems and people that work for them.
Yeah.
If you don't have the systems and people, then you are just essentially doing a glorified side hustle, and you are going to be doing all of the actual physical labor. And if as soon as you stop, that's your income is stopping. And that's like the biggest difference. So you should be starting with the intent to have automation systems in place to have where somebody else will value your business, because it doesn't require you for you to be present for it to get sold or for it to operate.
100%, exactly. And because if you are that solo entrepreneur, if you are the only one doing everything, you are the system.
Correct.
Right? If you think you don't have systems, you do. You just are the system. Your SOPs will say you. It's like me. I'm the SOP.
How do you hire people? No, not hire. How do you book a cleaning? Ask Alex. For everything, it's gonna say ask Alex.
I don't know. Alex does it. How do we handle disputes? How does Alex do it?
Right.
I don't know.
Dang, bro.
No, that's dumb. Have systems in your business so that one day when you choose, okay, I want to be able to now focus on something else, and I want to spend my time doing something else, because you're not going to want to do the business forever. Like it's not gonna, most people will not, you're not gonna, that's why I said, I know, like, I'm not starting this business with the intent like this is the last thing I ever do. If anything, really, like I said, real estate is going to be the last thing I would have done. Real estate, that could have been like, yeah, I would have started that, and that would have been the last thing I ever did. But like a business, no, the business is just a vehicle. It's a temporary vehicle to get you there, but it's not gonna be that vehicle if you're in the business all the time, in the day-to-day. So going back to that first original point of, like, you know, when is it actually time to actually I guess pivot or do something? Mm-hmm. It's once your business is at that place where now it can continue to grow without you. That
sounds perfect.
That is the answer. Because if your business, it's not to the point where your business operates without you. Of course, that is obviously, but it needs to grow without you. It's a difference. Growth without you is a lot different. And I'm glad we're having this conversation, because it's opening up my mind as to like, okay, what's the next thing I really need to focus on in the business? Because I've been so focused on like growing it myself.
Right.
But I needed to grow without me. That's next level.
That's huge.
That's next level. Nobody's thinking like that. Unless you're, the Apples, the Facebooks. But even then, it's like, okay, at that market cap, it's like, it's a whole different conversation. But yeah.
No, but that is probably a perfect answer. Like, I know we talked through it all the way to get to that answer, but that's why it's good to have these conversations, because now you can start seeing what is the next step, because what you don't want to have happen, like I said before, get to a point in your business where you are comfortable with where it's at, but you understand the concept that a stable business is a dying business. You have to know that, so something has to keep pushing the needle forward in the business. And by knowing that, now you can focus your time, energy, and effort on figure out how's it going to, or who do you need in place, or what systems do you need in place to make that happen.
Yeah, and that's what I'm gonna focus on this next month. So I know the next time we record, I will have that set up. I will. My goal is to come back and say, like, there's systems in place now that grow the business without me. People will know how to hire the next time I come back.
That is strong right there, man.
And people will know how to put new locations. That is going. If we expand new locations without me, I'm out. I'm out. But like, that's gonna be tough. That's gonna be tough. Right.
And I want to just reemphasize the importance of doing that is because of the fact that you don't want to stay tied into one single thing. Like, you want to focus on it to grow it, but it's like you said earlier, it's a vehicle to something else. Yeah. This is not the end all be all. This is the mentality. If this is not the end all be all. Yeah. If you want this to be your final thing that you do in life, cool. Then by all means, keep on pressing forward with it. But if you see that there's other things that you can move into, you need to just keep in mind that the business can continue to grow as well while you move into those new things. So in order to do that, you figure out who can grow your business without you.
Yeah. And I know there's actually companies out there where you can put a seat. They're like, I know there's like companies, they literally put CEOs in your business.
Oh, no doubt.
Like, you just pay them like a CEO salary.
Right.
Which is relative.
It's going to be
to the business, but
Yeah, it's definitely relative to the business. I was also finna say the return on investment should be huge.
Yeah,
because they're expanding to new locations.
Yeah.
Just think about the amount of return on investment you're going to get.
Right. It should be worth it, 100%.
So, yeah.
That's, something, that, but I personally would rather than putting a CEO in place, for me personally right now, I rather empower other, people to do those things. And
like within a business that's already in there,
or hire new people too, train them to know how we do things. But what I would really want to do is promote within the business. So it's like the people I have now,
I can see that.
I can get you like, now how to operate the day to day. Like these people in my business have been doing it 4 months. That's plenty of experience to be able to operate the day to day. Now, cool. How can you start hiring people? It's time to, and with that, I can pay you more for that.
You're
right, and then now that's going to obviously give us a return, because right now we only get a return if I say we need a higher return. So that is probably going to be my next thing. So I love that. Now the other angle,
I think the other angle is very important too.
Yeah, and this is probably the one more relevant to most people.
Right.
But the other one was very important to understand.
So you can think long term.
Yeah, because this is the mentality most people miss. I think that most people generally, you're not in that position where you're able to I want to grow the business without me. No, you need to grow it yourself first.
Facts.
Right? So I think the thing most people are struggling with is more so, okay, I've been trying this business for this amount of time. I'm not really having that success I want to yet. When is the time to really, I'm going to pose a question to you first. When is the time to really pivot to something else, or keep pushing or persevering through this one and continue to grow it? Because, at some point, it might be time to pivot at some point. If it's really not working, it might be time at some point. But what would be your take on that, as far as like, when is it actually time to pivot, or what should I keep persevering?
That is a good question. So it's really a conversation of pivot versus persevering. And I think it boils down to a few things. So one, it's for one, why did you get started with this business? Because if you got started because you saw somebody else doing it and you just it was jumping from one thing to the next anyway, you probably start getting started for the wrong reasons. And so now you just are more so following a bad habit of, I'm jumping from one thing to another because I just think this is like the next big thing that's going to get me to making a lot of money really quickly. So first you need to check why are you starting a business, but also on top of that, you should really be checking what is your end goal, and what business can really get you toward that the fastest. One thing I really like that you did very, very early on in the business is trying to figure out what qualities of a business makes you attracted to that one over another one. Yeah. And I think that was huge, because you start thinking of things like, how much personal interaction do I have to have with customers in the business? That could be one thing in itself.
Overhead.
Yeah, overhead was another big one right there. I forgot, there was the other one that you had too on top of that. But just certain factors in a business, what makes it.
I like the online, scalability of it. That's what I like personally in mine.
Online, yeah. So it could be
it's
online.
Like an online business, pretty much. My business person.
Is it going to be online, or is it going to be a brick and mortar? Yeah. Those type of things. What qualities of a business makes you attracted to it, and then try to maneuver more toward that direction.
The problem with that, though, is the only thing that I say with that is that you don't know until you experience them.
That's true. So that's part of jumping in from one thing to the next early on. But now you have to at least identify. Once you've seen enough of them, now you have to start picking.
But that's the question. How long do I jump from these different businesses? And that's and I'll just say from my perspective, right? Because this is literally what I went through in 2020 and 2019. Mm-hmm. Really up until last year. I jumped 6 different businesses.
Right.
But I gave each of them at least 3 to 4 months.
That's good.
Minimum. Trying it. Just because it was I was convicted on them at least for those 3.
You was convicted on all of them at the same time.
Right.
These are all finna work.
Yeah, I was convicted on them. So it's not I was let's see if this one worked. I did this. This was kind of unknowingly this was happening, but I'm telling you what worked for me. Because I was saying okay, the trucking business, that was the first thing I tried. I tried that for the longest before I was all right, let me throw in the towel. I tried that it was October 2019 up until, I just sold it last year. So it was really.
And I think this is a good way to start figuring out how to identify it too. What made you say this trucking business isn't worth it no more?
And so for me personally, it was a combination. I think it was really bad timing, just with COVID and all that kind of stuff. Because I got cooked whenever I literally got my truck on the road March 19, 2020. Which, if y'all remember, that was the week everything shut down.
Facts.
So Like my driver was like making trash money. He was ready to quit. All these different things. So it was just like a huge like
timing.
Yeah, timing was one thing. That aside, let's say that wasn't the thing. I probably wouldn't have stuck with that business anyway because I saw the overhead on it and it was just like not for me, and I didn't like the unpredictable cash flow.
Right.
So me personally, this is not to say like don't go do the trucking business. Me personally, my business philosophy, and we all develop business philosophies as we go in business.
That's huge.
And my philosophy became I need business with predictable cash flow, right? Because I know what I needed. I needed financial freedom, and I can't have my cash flow like all over the place. Now I know business is not 9 to 5, but my goal is to make it as much as like that as possible.
Right.
In the sense of like, okay, how can I get predictable, sustainable cash flow to continue to grow? So I realized the overhead, repairs, those kind of things from anything with a mechanical, that kind of made me weary of all business with vehicles personally, just because it was like, nah, I'm not dealing with those repairs.
Especially that truck is just like another animal for sure.
One repair take you out of business.
Facts.
Easily. Because if you don't have the money, it's okay, it's game over. So that was that. And then fortunately I had, got some funding from some partners because I was struggling and like I needed some extra money. So fortunately that kept me alive. It would have went down a lot sooner. But anyways, that was that. And then I also kind of realized that like I said before, I like businesses that are a lot more like scalable in terms of like I can scale a business from my living room. I can scale a business without having to go buy equipment or go get a building or go do anything like that. I can scale a business pretty like, okay, cool. Like for me in my business personally, I can like spend a lot of money in marketing and make a lot more money. So there's a certain ROI where it's like if I spend $100,000 in marketing, I can expect to make $500,000 off of this. So there was a certain ROI that I liked where it's like predictable.
Right.
It's almost like guaranteed almost. Where it's like just spend more money and you will make more money. So my whole thing became I really like that. So that was one thing. And then I tried the rental car business. I was actually in that I did that from like March 2020 till
I don't know what was it with you about March 2020. You was excited like this is the time to get started.
Bro, I just do everything. That was also the vending machine stuff, everything. And then so I tried that from March 2020. I didn't sell it till last year. But it was sitting in my
like you just didn't even want to rent it for whatever.
No.
It's like I don't
because he was putting too many miles on there. I was like, no, he cooking it, and that's again when I realized I don't want vehicles.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because it's like you killing my assets. That's what I just saw personally in my philosophy.
I think also this is huge. Understand every business is going to have problems too.
Yeah.
And it's going to have problems. Like for one, that's what business is. Like you're in the business solving problems anyway. Every business is going to have problems. Which ones are you willing to deal with? That is huge because even in the cleaning business, a lot of people would not do it because they have to deal with They have to deal with the customers, and they got to deal with people doing chargebacks, leaving 1-star reviews. Everything that you don't like about the business, that will take somebody else out.
That's a fact.
But somebody is willing to go through it, and that may be an indicator that you are a fit for that particular business. I think at the same time, though, more so importantly, which one is working? I think which one have you at least seen a proven model from it? Like, okay, I could see myself scaling this. That was what it was for us. Because when I was evaluating different businesses that I had back in like 2020, late 2020, we had the T-shirts, we had stock options, we had mobile home. I'm just saying. I'm thinking everything that I had. Oh, I guess you was a recruiter. What you were mobile homes at the rental car, and I was still like I wanted to create the app, and I still wanted to like start up the other business. Some business never even came to fruition.
You did have
started the pest control and then tow trucking. A lot of stuff that I was thinking about at the time. I was like doing research at like early phases. The app is probably one thing I really still want to go back to and do later. Yeah. But I was looking at what was working for me at the time. T-shirts was, oh my goodness, all investment, no return. So I was like, okay, this is still got a whole inventory of them sitting in the house. Yeah. I was like, okay, I don't like that one but now I see why though. And I didn't like the on-demand requirement of me to have to go like print out the label to go package up the shirt, got to go to give me some new orders. Only one size runs out, and we got a whole bunch of XLs and mediums. I got to place a new order for largest only. I didn't like all that, so that told me I didn't like that business. Then the mobile home, the dude moved out. I was like, oh no, what you can't do is have a dude move out. So I was looking at, like I said, looking at the different businesses, which one was working for us at the time.
Yeah.
So in our personal experience, the rental car was doing really well, the one that we had. And we were willing to figure out like how to navigate through the exit strategy, because that's essentially what you needed was an exit strategy for the mileage and understanding how to put systems in place to navigate that.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, their problems are the problems are objective. Like as far as like it doesn't have a feeling of this is bad or this is good. It just exists.
Problems, yeah.
It just exists. So what are you willing to go through, or how do you perceive that problem? Do you perceive it as a negative that's going to repel you from the business, or is it something that you are okay dealing with because you're going to find a solution for it?
Yeah.
And that was what it was for us. It's like, okay, so we know that mileage is a thing in this business. We have to keep in mind that these cars have to be recycled, and we have to figure out the best ways to get into them.
And I wasn't trying to figure out, like, that was my thing with it. I didn't want to figure out, okay, when do I need to like start selling these cars and doing this? Because it was like, man, I'm not trying to do all this.
Right.
That was like me. It was a turn off to me. Like I just didn't like. And I think because I had that trucking experience, bro. And that term, because the repairs on that, it was just like, bro, my cash flow is too unpredictable. I would make $25,000 this month and still break even.
Yeah, I could not imagine seeing all that money come in, doing profit first strategy, and then you look up and be like, dang, let me put that money back in the business later. That'll kill you so quick.
Man, I wasn't paying myself nothing.
I know. I was just thinking that you didn't implement profit first yet. I don't think.
No, it didn't come until January of 2021.
Right.
So I was just running like a full one account.
You probably needed all of that money too, to be honest.
Yeah, bro, it was ridiculous, and you know, credit card debt piling up. It was just, it got crazy, and I'm still, you know, paying the thing on that. I'm still paying the price. That thing
still got to get paid a little bit more,
bro. It was a lot, bro.
God,
because I still get tolls. I still get dumb stuff, tickets that came from the drivers, and it's just like, bro, I was not finna do all this, bro.
And that's the indicator right there. Is like what was working. Obviously, that wasn't. That was actually eating cash flow alive.
It was cooking me.
Exactly. So that's a very valid reason to leave.
But I don't hate it at all. Like all these things, I'm so grateful for having all those experiences, because I wouldn't have found this one that's like, oh, because if I would have, let's say I'd have found this one first, and it's like, cool, nice, I would have experienced customers. I'm like, ooh, I don't like customers. But not knowing the other stuff I would have dealt with was like even worse.
The grass isn't always greener, basically.
Right.
it's like, oh, you want customers? You want this overhead?
Yeah,
from this
like,
truck?
I'm happy to deal with customers when you're telling me my alternative is this. See, and then now it's like, cool. That's the good thing about like implementing a business with the point to like you can sell it, is because once you get your business to that point where it's like, okay, it's operating without me, you don't have to deal with those issues that you don't like. Right? I don't deal with any issues anymore. It's all I deal with is money.
Right.
All I deal with is paying people. That's the only issue I deal with, which even that is kind of annoying to me now too, because it's just sometimes it's like, I gotta just set aside time to do it. But it's fine. I'm not gonna complain.
I think it's another one that you can help qualify what business you can be in, or like I guess sticking with something. Is there a need for that business, like a long term need at that? Yeah. I think trucking was a big one. Like at least that would qualify it as that there's a long term need.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like that was one thing I think you said way back early when you first got to start the truck.
Yeah.
There's everything that exists in the world was first on the truck.
Yeah.
So that means that trucking is not going anywhere.
Never ever.
So that is something that can qualify it as something that you can be like sustainable. Because some businesses may be like short lived, like just like a fad for this moment, and that. Because that doesn't align with your goal of like longevity, you might not continue on with a business for that reason.
Yeah.
Versus one like for me with the rental car business, every time somebody travels, you will need two things: a place to stay and something to get around in. So that's my mentality with this, as far as growing the rental car business. Like I know there's a need for it, and it's all about getting our business in front of the people with that need.
So then, how do you navigate the point of like, okay, what if travel slows down significantly? Like COVID, for instance, travel pretty much shut down for a good amount of time. Like, obviously, your business wasn't like running at that point.
It wasn't.
So, like, how would you navigate that now if a black swan event like that came?
A black swan event like that came in, that would be a time to really start liquidating some of the portfolio. To be honest, like that would be a situation to say, how can we best get liquid cash and have multiple reserves in place to be able to sustain ourselves? Mm-hmm. I think that would be a strategy for that. And if they just put everybody inside, that's a whole different story. Because that's the same question I could propose in your situation. Because now you have people going to people's houses.
Yeah.
So it's the same situation. I think nobody's immune to this type of stuff within business because everybody's going to suffer to some degree.
And I think personally,
unless you're just completely online.
Yeah, if I'm talking about longevity, the trucking business personally was probably the best option for me personally in terms of like most sustainable long term. Just even more, definitely more so than the cleaning business. But like I said, I never started a business with the intent to do this forever.
Right.
So my whole thing was like, cool. If another event like that happens, I would have already set something up. It's like, I got some real estate here. I got some money coming in here. I got this over here. So it was, to me, it's like, if it happens, it's going to happen. I can't control it. I know what I can control is having other streams of revenue, which it comes once now that business is solidified. So now that's what I'm able to work on now.
Right. And just building up, talking about reserves in the first place, having reserves, having, talking about life insurance policies, having extra like real estate or like any type of asset class, that is something that can help you sustain yourself in those times of crisis, I believe.
Yeah, definitely.
And that is a strategy in itself, as far in addition to like liquidating certain assets within the business for the sake of like reducing your overhead. Like those are just different things you can go about doing. But I still don't think anybody's like fully immune, especially if you have a service-based business where you're serving other people.
No, because at the end of the day, at the end of the day, if your business is like not essential to living, then more than likely it's like, okay, you'll see some sort of dip. Now, your job as the grower, as the operator, owner of the business is to innovate it in a way that makes it essential. Right. And so there's so many different ways to do it. And that just means thinking unorthodoxly thinking outside of the box and not thinking the conventional way. Right. So like for me, in my business, it's like knowing like, okay, relying strictly on residential customers is not the smartest thing to do. Mm-hmm. You might have to add some commercial customers in there. You might have to, innovate your technology to become more of a technology business versus a service-based business, because a technology business is not going to be impacted in that same way because we have other revenue streams from different things. And so I don't know, it's different things.
That particular point right there, that's going back to the conversation we had a few episodes ago with having that technology based, like that teaching based business or some type of digital product based business within your current business. Having multiple revenue streams within your one business model does help it out, especially in those times where you can pivot your strategy as far as your main income generator during those times where you can't necessarily do the main thing the business is for.
Right.
That could be another thing.
Right. But I do want to kind of go back to what we were saying. So just in a sense of like, okay, for those people that are in that position, right, where you started a business, you're in this new business, you're new to entrepreneurship, you've been doing it a couple months, and I'm kind of ready. You need to ask yourself if you're ready to switch, pivot to a new business every whatever, you're probably getting this whole shiny object syndrome.
Right.
Like you have to be mature at some point to know it's like, okay, I'm not motivated anymore to do this business as much, but I'm still going to stick to it and continue to persevere through it, because I know at some point I have to focus on one thing.
Right.
If you're there's people that are literally switching from businesses every 3 months, and it's like, bro, you're not going to grow nothing. You're not going to grow anything. That is no way to do anything. Be mature to know that you have to realize that motivation is fleeting. Passion is fleeting. Discipline is what you have to rely on in everything in life, but especially in business, especially because it's like when you're new, you're going to see so many different things. You see, people talking about this business. You see people talking about investing in real estate and the stock market, all these different. Yeah, there's a bunch of ways to make money. That's the time we're living. We're in the information age. You're going to see TikTok people talking about making money, doing Amazon FBA, make money with Airbnb. That's like the big thing right now. Airbnb arbitrage. It's like hot. Everybody wants to do Airbnb. It's like, cool. Do you want to do it because you see other people are doing it, or do you want to do it because it's like something I actually want to stick to and do? That's something you have to figure out. I would say, honestly, if I was going to give you a timeline, minimum 3 to 4 months to stick to something, minimum. And I mean, you needed to be focused on it during those 3 to 4 months and actually putting in at least 6-7 hours a day into that business, for that time, and actually trying. It's cool, okay. It's not actually, you see something, you figure out, okay, this is not actually something I like. I don't like this aspect. And you develop your business philosophy. That's cool to try different things. It's cool. It's actually good to fail at other businesses. It's actually good to invest thousands of dollars and lose it, because it's going to teach you okay, I don't like that. I promise you're going to learn. You will learn. So
yeah, I would say within those 3 to 4 months, it's really going to be a lot dictated on learning what you do and don't like about this business before you say, but like before you justify pivoting in anything.
That's
like,
the thing.
You have to figure out, why are you saying I want to do something else? It can't be for shiny object syndrome. It has to be something tangible, like overhead or something like customer relations, like and what other business that you're seeing that you want to pivot into, you have to first also tell yourself, why would that one work any better? It can't just be that one's gonna make me money faster. It could be, but understand that business comes with a set of problems. Yep. And so are you willing to go through those problems in that new business and leave the problems in this old business? Because you said if you start the cleaning business first and you're looking at the customers and you'd be like, okay, that's a problem I don't want to deal with. Well, now understand the trucking business going to have different problems. Yeah. It makes more money, but it's going to have other problems. What are you willing to deal with at the end of the day?
That's the thing. And that's why it's okay. That's the only reason I say it's okay trying different businesses early on. You shouldn't be doing that for 3 years,
right?
Like if you still, you're not, go back to your 9 to 5 at that point. Like you're better off with that consistent income. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings, but yeah, that's what I would say. So yeah, understand every business has its own set of problems, and that just because you hop into a new one doesn't mean you're not going to find problems in that one. There will be problems in that business. You just need to figure out what problems are you willing to set systems around. What problems are you more comfortable with dealing with early on?
Yep.
Those are the two things you need to think about whenever you're trying to figure out. But I would say for the majority of people just don't use that type of analysis. They just hop around because it's like, ooh,
that's a new hot
business
thing.
Looks for sure. Yeah, I can do that, and it's hot now. Everyone's doing it. Everyone's talking about it. Cool. Alex is doing that. Oh, Marlon's doing that. Oh, yeah. I could try that. I could do that.
Oh, that one a lot for sure.
Yeah, and that's why it's like I hate when people try to say, "Oh man, you did all that in your business. I want to do that too." And it's like that's fine, but just understand I learned a lot failing at other businesses.
Right.
I learned a whole lot in other business. You're gonna try this business. You're gonna find some problems, and you're not gonna be motivated to solve them. I was motivated to solve these because these were a lot better problems than what I was dealing with before.
And now you have perspective that made you more appreciative of these problems because you knew what alternatives there were.
I liked actually solving these problems rather than those other problems. I had that perspective, and that's what experience gives you: perspective and lessons. And that's what when people say you learn lessons and trying and failure, that's what it means for me,
right?
Specifically in business, and one perspective or one degree at least, I was able to see what problems I liked dealing with, what problems I could tolerate dealing with, and what problems I was fine setting systems around. So that is how I would attack that one. So
great conversation,
man. Yeah, I think there's a lot that people should take from that. So yeah, what we'll do now is head to our next segment, which is going to
I like this question. I figured you would too. So we got someone named, I guess, mdayton_ on Instagram. They asked, is there anything that you wish you would have done during college to expedite your financial freedom journey?
Let me see it. I want to read it. This is on the one you posted today?
Yep.
Annalisa, you childish.
I replied to that one too.
Anything you all wish you would have done during college to expedite? Sorry.
I had to know your answer, so I said, let me answer this one.
Personally, I would have house hacked.
Yep.
And that's the only time, if anyone ever says, if there was one thing you could go change ever in my life, it will always be that.
Yep.
I would have house hacked earlier. I'm not mad at the way, again, everything happens for a reason, but if I just knew that one thing at 18, that would have gave me 3 properties before I graduated college. Because my parents had already paid for literally every year they paid the entire year's rent up front, a $7,000 check up front. That was a down payment on a property every year. In 2014, you know how cheap properties were? Oh my gosh, man. So yeah, that would be personally what I would do. So I would say if you're in college,
man,
house hack. Get a job and get an FHA loan. House hack one property. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a game changer. Especially that's all you need to do. House hack a property, rent it out to some roommates. You already living with roommates. You might as well own the spot that you living in and make money off of it. That would be the one thing. I don't know, what would it be for you?
That one was huge. I just picture myself in that era of time, knowing that I was going between football and actually doing like schoolwork and everything, I just know how my brain would have operated. That is huge, though. I think house hacking can definitely expedite your financial freedom journey. I think for me, one thing I've learned as I've grown throughout the years is being more inquisitive. And just answering more questions and just learning, being more open to learning new things early on. Because when did you mention the the engineering firm? Was that in college, right?
Yeah, it was sophomore year of college.
Correct.
Summer of 2015.
Yep, and that's the one thing that I wish I would have done, because me being more inquisitive and learning new things early on and being okay with like experimenting with new things, that broadens my horizons way earlier and allows me to be able to try out more things early on and then get this is a whole different trajectory, because I just think about how my mind is, and I'm so tunnel vision focused on one thing,
right,
that a lot of things do pass me by for that reason. So that would have helped me out a lot. Reading books earlier on for me too, like all those different things would have helped me out as far as pushing me forward in the right direction. So my whole journey would have changed.
So your advice to him will be to be more inquisitive.
Yes, ask more questions, study more people, especially with all the information we have today. Continue to learn new things, because that's one of those things are going to be revealed to you and be like, oh, I need to go try that out, and be okay with trying and failing too. Like I think that's huge, just because a lot of people will look and learn about different things but never actually implement or do anything because they are afraid to fail. But understand that is the best time to do it, when you probably have no kids, you probably have no wife at the time. Even if you do, like, it's still relatively early on, and this is the time where you can experience everything, fail, then worst case scenario is going to get a 9 to 5 at the age of 22.
If you do,
you got the whole rest of your life. So
if you do have a wife and kids at that time, I'm sorry to hear that. Playing with you. Not really though. So, but no, that's good. So, and I would say too, the only thing, just really focus on networking too while you're young, like, because that's like free and that's easy. There's no money needed, but that's like the one thing that's like you networking in college with all the people on your campus and even outside of like that, and like figuring out like, cool, like, okay, let's say you want to get into real estate, going to those local real estate meetups when you're in college, telling you, man, the people you will meet, that will be more valuable than the college degree you're getting. I can guarantee you that. 100% guaranteed.
That's 100% fact.
Yeah, so that's what I would do. Networking in that.
Leveraging your youth. Because
facts.
When you go to those meetups, they love to see that.
They love
18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old walking up and saying, I'm interested in doing this. They love to see
They're going to want to damn near mentor you.
They might bring you in on a deal with them just so you can get the experience. Like, you never know what will happen just because you got into the room at an early age. So leverage that to the fullest. Yeah.
That's why I always think that youth is an advantage. And I'm always believe that. So when I get old, I'm going to be mad.
Like, dang, I got no advantage. Everybody looks at me as old.
Yeah, I'm like the same as everybody else.
Facts.
So, I mean, we're 25 now, so it's winding down.
Facts.
It's wearing out. I can notice the power is going away. It was powerful the last few years. But, yeah, sorry to everyone that's older.
It's like, bro, I'm sick of y'all talking about y'all old.
Hey, it's all relative. So, yeah, that was that. So, what we'll do now to wrap up the show is our last segment, which is Take It or Leave It.
We gave you the game. You can
take it or leave it.
My final takeaway from this show would probably be, I would say really, number one, understand the point you're in your entrepreneurship journey, right? Are you at that point to where, your business is thriving, flourishing, or are you at that point where you're still trying to try new things? Not even thriving. Are you at the point where your business operates without you, right? If you are, now it's time to set it up to grow without you, right? That's the next thing. If you on the opposite end, if you're at the point where you're new in this entrepreneurship journey, you're trying to figure out what you want to do, have you like tried different things? If you have you tried them for 3 to 4 months? That's what I would say. Try things for at least 3 to 4 months. Focus on it. Figure out what are the things you dislike about that business? What are the things you like? And if you figure out the things you dislike, you can now figure out, okay, what can I weed out as far as like, what do I actually want to do? This is just coming from my own personal experience, but that would be my takeaway.
Yes, sir. I think it's just doing a personal and business assessment of seeing, like kind of falling back on what you said, just figuring out where you are in the business at this moment. And also identifying what it is that you desire, like really falling back on what your goals are from the very beginning. is what I'm doing today in line with what my goals are? Can I get there based on what I'm currently doing? If not, that may be justification for you to pivot. Or if you can, but you just are experiencing an obstacle, remember that there's obstacles in every single business. Obstacles are not inexistent in one particular business. Each one is going to have its own. Which ones are you willing to deal with?
Facts.
And once you know which ones those are, especially through experience of trying different ones out, focusing on that one, grow it, scale it. And once you are at the point where you are ready to like automate and try other things because you have focus, make sure you have something in place to where you can keep the business growing without you, as opposed to just having it operate without you. So there's operation and there's growth. Both of those should be able to be done without you being present.
There you have it. That is it for this episode of the Money Monopolizers podcast. And new episodes will be released every Thursday and will be available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Money Monopolizers wherever you listen to podcasts. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, we'd appreciate if you rated us 5 stars and left us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can also find out more information about us on Instagram at the Monopolizers. We post informative content on there that's going to keep you engaged. So be sure to check that out and share those posts. But until then, we're out of here.
At the Monopolizers on Instagram. That's the one.
What did I say?
At the Monopolizers. Find us on Instagram at the Monopolizers.
You've been listening to the Money Monopolizers podcast, helping you take control of your financial destiny. To learn more about how you can be in control of your money, visit moneymonopolizers.com. We'll catch you next time when Alex and Marlon share more personal finance and wealth creation tips with you. Now it's time to take action.